I know we hear all about the battleground states and the swing states and the important must-win states in the U.S. Senate, and all of those are important. But I want you to be aware that the Florida Senate seat is in play. Florida, the home of Mar-a-Lago and Ron DeSantis, and the Republican government getting into a fight with Disney and passing a 6-week abortion ban and permitless carry. Florida, where woke goes to die. I want you to know it's in play because it is. Because Rick Scott is running in Florida. Rick Scott, who oversaw the largest Medicaid fraud in the nation's history, who was CEO of the company who was fined $1.7 billion for stealing money from the federal government that should have gone to healthcare for seniors. Rick Scott, who left that company with a giant golden parachute and made hundreds of millions of dollars in the process. Rick Scott, who quite frankly should be in jail, but is so convinced the Florida Senate seat is already his, he's running to take over as Republican leader after Mitch McConnell steps down. Well, my friend, you might be putting the leadership role before the job there. You only won last time by over 10,000 votes. And aren't you the guy that wrote the Senate plan for the 2022 midterms that included phasing out Social Security and Medicare? Aren't you the guy who just voted against the right to contraception and has received an A+ rating from the anti-IVF and the anti-contraception extremist groups? No matter what you say in your ads, we know you're a vote for a nationwide abortion ban if you get back in the Senate, so we have to make sure you don't get there. The good news is, Rick Scott is in trouble. People really don't like him. People don't like his policies. People don't like his corrupt, fraudulent mentality. The general consensus is Rick Scott sucks. And then you've got Debbie Muscarsel-Powell running against him. A proud Latina, born in South America, who, like many great American stories, came to this country in search of a better life. Debbie Muscarsel-Powell, who was the first South American immigrant elected to Congress. Debbie Muscarsel-Powell, whose first language is Spanish in a state that the census tells us is over 26% Hispanic or Latino. DMP, as they call her, is a vote for our rights being restored. She's a vote for the working class people of America, a vote for unions and good-paying jobs. When Rick Scott wrote a bill to get rid of Medicare, Debbie was working at Florida's International College of Health and Medicine, leading a program to expand it. When Rick is saying that climate change doesn't exist in a state that is the epicenter of climate change, Debbie secured $200 million for Everglade restoration and cares that Florida is the only state in the lower 49th with a coral reef that needs protecting. Debbie will fight for women's rights and returning our bodily autonomy, for the right to contraception and the right to IVF, while Rick will throw us all under the bus and keep driving and file an insurance claim. Debbie, who lost her own father to gun violence and has been a lifelong advocate for getting guns out of the hands of the wrong people and a vocal and passionate supporter of common sense gun legislation. Rick is a no vote on the bipartisan gun safety bill. These people could not be more opposite. And yet the people of Florida seem ready to fight, to protect their lives and their rights. They seem tired of the extremism. They're tired of the hate and the division. And quite frankly, they're tired of having their government strip their freedoms from them piece by piece. Do we really want to put the man who ripped off the government back in government? The man who has $68 million of his own money to put into the race because he ripped us off? Just so he can strip our rights from us and not think twice? Or do we want the woman who has worked her way through school, earning minimum wage, taking care of her children and her elderly mother, who understands what it's like to be a woman and a worker and an immigrant in this country and will fight for everybody's rights? This is a winnable race. No one's talking about it because it's Florida, but people hate Rick Scott. And it wasn't so long ago that Florida was considered a purple state or even a blue-leaning one. And as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to abortion care and IVF and contraception and Social Security and Medicare and affordable health care, it still is. So tell your friends and family who live in Florida to vote for Debbie Muscarsel-Powell or send her some money if you have a chance. She might not have as much money as Rick, but she has got way more to offer as a representative. I'll attach a link in my bio and below to make it easier for you to help her out. But Debbie can win this seat, and we can take it from Rick. And if we win Florida, then we change the perception of what people in this country really want.